Okay, today we're diving into a real classic, a piece of cultural history that, well, it really shows critics don't always get it right. Jerome K. Jerome's 1889 novel, Three Men in a Boat, to say nothing of the dog.
That full title is key, isn't it? People often
What?
forget the dog part.
They do. And our mission here is to figure out the paradox of this book. Why did something the highbrow Victorian critics just hated become this instant, massive global hit? We want to give you that shortcut to understanding this whole phenomenon.
It's a great question. Because the story itself sounds pretty simple.
Right, just a 2-week boating holiday on the Thames, Kingston up to Oxford. But here's the real kicker.
It wasn't meant to be funny.
Exactly. He originally planned it as a serious travel guide. Topographical, historical.
Which explains those, slightly drier bits early on. You get these sentimental descriptions of places.
But they get completely swamped by the comedy pretty quickly.
Oh, definitely. So the trip features the narrator,
Yeah.
Jay, that's Jerome himself, and his two actual friends, George Wingrave and Carl Henschel, though Carl's called Harris in the book.
Right, George and Harris. And of course, the dog.
Montmorency, who, unlike the man, was entirely made up.
And the setup for this whole trip is just glorious. These three guys decide they're suffering from crippling overwork.
Yes, complete hypochondriacs, basically.
Totally. They need rest. But they rule out a sea trip immediately because, well, previous boating attempts nearly killed them.
Their incompetence is legendary even before they start.
It really is. They're so bad at planning. They kick off the river journey after battling the chaos of Waterloo Station back then. And didn't they end up bribing a train driver?
They did.
Yeah.
Just to get their boat to the starting point at Kingston.
That seems extreme for a supposedly relaxing holiday.
Absolutely. And that kind of, desperate, bumbling incompetence, that's really the heart of the book's humor. And what's so clever is how Jerome mixes that genuine travelogue. He mentions real places like Hampton Court Palace, Magna Carta Island.
Yeah, you get the real geography.
But he blends it with these incredibly specific, totally absurd comedic bits, like spending ages moaning about a useless barometer or how impossible it is to learn the bagpipes.
That mix is perfect. It's why it sticks with you. Everyone remembers the story about the plaster of Paris trout, right? The one that gets bigger every time it's mentioned.
Oh, the trout is a classic.
Yeah.
But maybe the ultimate set piece, the real highlight, has to be that improvised Irish stew.
Ah, the stew.
Where they just throw in every leftover scrap they can find. Bits of bacon, pineapple chunks, I think some biscuits.
Whatever's lying around.
And then Montmorency, the dog, he wants to contribute too. He brings over a dead water rat.
Oh, God, the rat.
Which leads to that brilliant debate, Harris arguing they should put it in because, well, every little helped.
It's peak absurdity, isn't it? But
Right.
it makes you wonder, this kind of humor, so popular, so funny, even now, how did it actually land with the literary gatekeepers back in 1889?
Badly. That's putting it mildly. The critics were properly hostile.
Really? Why?
They hated the slang, called it vulgar. They basically sneered that it was only written for sort of working-class Londoners, the Aries and Ariots.
Wow. So they dismissed Jerome himself.
Oh, yeah. Mocked him as airy-k-airy, essentially saying he was common, beneath serious consideration. It sounds familiar, actually, that whole debate about whether popular stuff is too lowbrow still happens today with films, books.
It's exactly the same pattern. Gatekeepers dismissing what ordinary people actually enjoy, but clearly the public didn't listen.
Not one bit. The publisher famously joked he couldn't figure out where all the copies went. Maybe the public must eat them.
Huh. Do we have numbers?
We do. In the UK alone, 202,000 copies sold in the first 20 years, and it may be 1 million pirated copies over in America.
1 million. Pirated.
Yeah, the copyright situation was messy then, but it shows the demand. And if you think bigger picture, that huge success created this incredible legacy.
It's never been out of print, has it?
Never. Not once since 1889. And its influence is huge. Jerome wrote a sequel, a cycling one called Three Men on the Bummel.
Right, the cycling trip.
And the original's been adapted loads of times. There was even a version in 1975 adapted by the playwright Tom Stoppard.
Wow, Stoppard. Okay.
And fans can still trace the route today. The pubs, the inns Jerome mentions along the Thames. Many are still there.
So pulling this all together, what's the main takeaway for you, for the listener?
Well, you can really appreciate how something starting as a maybe slightly dry travel guide morphed into this absolute masterpiece of enduring, accessible comedy.
Yeah, and one that just completely sailed past the critics of its day. Sometimes, I guess, a bit of slang and dead water rats are exactly what you need for lasting literary fame.
It seems so. And think about how writers still nod to it. Connie Willis won a Hugo Award for her time travel novel, to say nothing of The Dog.
Using the full original subtitle. Nice.
Exactly. So here's something for you to chew on maybe next time you're stuck on a boat, or anywhere, really. What wildly popular book, or maybe even film today, is getting slammed by the critics, but absolutely devoured by the public? Worth thinking about.